Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
As the Democratic National Convention is kicking off, a new CBS poll lays out where voters are on policy. And that's pretty good for Donald Trump. Former President Donald Trump leading vice presidential candidate. Vice presidential. No, she's the vice president. Vice President Kamala Harris on the issues of the economy. Look, if they can't figure out who their nominee is, how am I supposed to know? 56-43, Trump's up on the economy. On inflation, up 61-38. And on the border, 76-24. He's also up slightly on issues like foreign policy. Kamala Harris is still killing it with people who are obsessed with abortion. So congratulations to her on that. In a head-to-head matchup, the race is far tighter, with each candidate claiming wins in different polls, with betting markets now showing a 49-49 tie. So you're starting to see the race tighten up there a bit after Kamala Harris had her little honeymoon.
Number 6.
4 Alabama cities have made the list of best places to live in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Reports. This includes Huntsville plummeting further down the list from their former number 1 rank all the way to number 7. And Tommy Battle wants a re-election? I mean, this guy, look at this. We're just plummeting down this list. Montgomery is at 54, and they're bragging. Can you really brag about being anywhere out of the top 10? Is that something to be bragging about? I don't know. But Montgomery's bragging at 54, talking about how great they are at what they're doing. Mayor Stephen Reed and his inept chief of staff, they're enjoying that. Mobile at 102 and Birmingham at 129. Again, if you're out of the top 10 or 20, should you really be bragging about anything? I'm not so sure that you should be, but I guess when you need a W, you take it where you can find it.
Number 5.
Pro-Palestinian protesters, more like anti-Israel protesters, organized by the group Direct Actions for Palestine, disrupted events near the Democratic National Convention yesterday, holding a banner that read, "Killer Kamala," and Gaza's speaking. This references Vice President Kamala Harris's incredibly lame and inane "I'm speaking" catchphrase, which is exactly what the American people want, a Karen as president. "I'm speaking, thank you very much. Can I talk to your manager?" The protesters, of course, condemned the Biden-Harris administration and other Democratic leaders for their support of Israel in the ongoing conflict with Hamas, accusing them of complicity in genocide, which makes no sense. They were tearing down barriers yesterday in front of cops, carrying off the walls, and the cops were letting them do it. They had sledgehammers, chains, and all sorts of stuff.
Number 4.
The Alabama Attorney General, Steve Marshall, announced that temporary restraining orders were issued against 5 illegal gambling facilities in Selma. These facilities had to cease operations, which is good because, they're illegal, and that's good. They have to restrict access, and they can no longer do financial transactions. Good. Shut them down. They're illegal. Marshall accurately noted. These facilities are operating in complete disregard of Alabama law. I applaud Dallas County Sheriff Grantham's dedication to combat this blight and willingness to invite our team to assist in shutting down these criminal enterprises. This needs to be happening all over the state of Alabama. You want gambling laws to pass? You want real gambling reform? Well, you got to shut down the bad guys before any of that's going to actually happen.
Number 3.
Alabama's elected officials in Washington are reacting to House Oversight Committee's report detailing allegations against President Joe Biden related to influence peddling during his vice presidency that netted his family $27 million from foreign entities beginning when Vice President Biden was vice president. Yes, all those things happened. We've been told, hey, if there are crimes, why don't you show us what they are? Here you go. The report, part of an ongoing impeachment inquiry, accuses Biden of abusing his office to enrich his family and obstructing investigations. U.S. Representative Gary Palmer, a Republican out of Hoover, and Robert Aderholt, a Republican out of Hayesville, says, look, both Republicans, they both said this: we support the inquiry. The evidence of corruption is here, and we need to make it very clear that this stuff should not be allowed to happen. So it has, though.
Number 2.
The Alabama delegation at the Democratic National Convention is considered to have been selected by bad faith actors. That's according to some of the leadership at the DNC. And now the DNC is concerned about how they're going to behave, which is probably a safe bet for them. So the embarrassment continues. As they continue to go and have these events, they're interviewed by different entities, and they talk about how they were screwed over and how they weren't supposed to be there and all these other stuff. And you have guys inside the party who are very upset with how those people were selected. The party, the National Party, has now released documents suggesting close monitoring of the Alabama delegation ahead of the convention in Chicago after accusations from Alabama Democratic Party Chairman Randy Kelly that he says the National Party handpicked delegates, which they did, bypassing a fair selection process, which they did. So neither the delegates from Alabama nor Kamala Harris ever had any real votes.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
President Joe Biden, after having his nomination stolen from him, was trotted out on the stage at the Democratic National Convention to say goodbye and promote Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. His speech was angry and sad and full of lies. He touted the very fine people story. He also then would turn and say that the anti-Israel protesters outside, quote, have a point. He touted his record on the economy as it fails, and his, I guess, vice president is running away from it. And I think he summed up his presidency pretty damn well in the following quote. It's a beautiful, wonderful statement that I just want to share with you, and you'll see why people were very happy with it.
Wade, as you heard earlier tonight, the United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, women are not without electoral or political power.
You can do it, Joe!
No kidding.
The applause line is "no kidding," which is a famous Joe Bidenism for "I'm a liar." In this case, it means I don't know what's going on. Where am I? What's happening? Who's in charge? Who put me here? What's happening? Where are these lights coming from? I think he actually did okay at this speech. I'll just be completely honest with you. He did fine here. This guy shows up at the debate. He's still the nominee, but it was still embarrassing. It was embarrassing. They made him come out and give his own obituary. So that's what he did. He came out and talked about how great he was, which is exactly why they ran his ass out of town. So there you go. Joe Biden's telling you how wonderful he is, and everyone else is pretending they believe it as well. So good for them. We saw the talking heads talk about what a wonderful guy he is and how he stepped down for the good of the country. No, he stepped down because they made him. Nancy Pelosi pushed him out. That's what happened. Now, you can weigh in right now if you'd like. Easy way to do so. You can get in right now on the scoutpestcontrol.com WVNN hot take text line. You can jump in right there at 866-494-WVNN and get your comments in on Biden's speech, Jason Isbell's sucking, or any of the gambling issues we've talked about. You can also get your questions in for 10 with him. You can email us right here.
You've got mail.
Dale at WVNN.com. That's the downtownrescuemission.org email inbox. And you can always pick up the phone. QC Connect's free speech phone lines, 866-494-WVNN. All of that and more continues right here on The Dale Jackson Show on WVNN.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.